Direct from Montreal, Canada, this is Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon. Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon.
On this episode, we welcome back the one and only Lita Ford. Lita, I heard that your M3 festival show was absolutely terrific. Unfortunately, stuck in Canada, I didn't get to see it, but thankfully, there are more shows in 2021 and 2022, so I will get to one of them eventually. But today, we are here to speak about a special announcement on Monday, July 26th. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio is going to be giving you a full display in the main hall by the garage, as they call it.
By the garage.
The garage. Le garage, as we say in French. But talk to me about this, about getting a display at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's cool.
It's cool, and we got a lot of great people involved, and they're all working with me and doing a really nice display on my iconic guitar, the black one with the red hourglass on it that I've had since I think it was 81 or something it came from, and so it's actually a duplicate of Morice. Morice is my Black Warlock. And so I all my guitars have names, so I named it Morice. So we're going to do a display on Morice, and the girls at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame have been working with us, and there's going to be a lot of press and media and interviews and coverage and photo ops and all kinds of stuff involved. My guitar player and I, Patrick Kennison, will be performing a song in the garage, and the fans are invited to come down.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of cool. Talk to me just real quick about your relationship with BC Rich, because the signature Morice is infamous, for the lack of a better word. How did that come about that you chose BC Rich and you chose this guitar and the sound of it? Because it's a great. I mean, it's a work of art, that guitar.
Yeah, it's just iconic. And those guitars are, they are a lot different than the BC Riches today. There's just so many different things involved. And one of them is the wood. So those original BC Riches are very, very heavy because the wood is so dense. But when I was coming out of the Runaways, I actually didn't want to be like anybody else. I mean, I wasn't like anybody else. I wanted to be my own person and not copy somebody because they were playing a Les Paul or copy somebody because they were playing a Strat. I wanted to be Lita. And for some reason, these Warlocks and BC Rich guitars just fit on me like my favorite pair of jeans, that you pull out of your closet, like your old faithfuls. And then I was able to, because the company was new back then in the 80s, I was able to create my own guitars with my own pickups and my own tremolo units and my own preamps and all the little bells and whistles, that are added onto these guitars. Like the double neck is another one. And so these guitars just became like people. They're like family members. They're not like pieces of wood or guitars that you just play during a show and then you hang it up. I mean, they're really just part of my everyday life. And they are very different than what a lot of other musicians would play. And I wanted that. I wanted to be different. I didn't want to copy anybody. And so now here we are in 2021, and I still have these beautiful guitars, and they still sound like God when you plug them in. I mean, they're just frightening guitars. And so now the Rock Hall of Fame is going to do a display on Morice and presenting the Rock Hall with Morice II.
Which is very cool. And you're also going to be in the Ohio and Pennsylvania area for like 7 shows around that time. So fans are going to have a chance to see you at the Rock Hall and then get out to a whole bunch of different shows, which is going to be very cool. And it's cool that we get to do shows. What sort of attracted you to the guitar as a youngster? You know, when you're young and you're thinking, "Wow, what am I going to be? Am I going to be a teacher, a nurse, or this and that?" And you see, well, guitar. What attracted you to that instead of drums or bass or just being a singer?
Yeah. It's just in my blood. It's just something that I ended up doing because it's just in my blood. And I played guitar for 2 years before I ever saw my first rock concert. So it wasn't like I went to a rock concert and said, "Oh, I want to do that." That came later. But playing guitar was just something that came natural to me. And I got to think it's just like a gift from God or something, because it was just like, boom, you will be a guitar player. And I just went with it and thought, okay, I got this. I can do this.
You can. You certainly. So when you finally got to concerts and went, "Ooh, I want to do that." Who were some of the ones that you looked up to and said, "Ooh," was it like, was it the Scott Gormans and Phil Lynott of Thin Lizzy? Was it Jimmy Page? Was it Ace Frehley? Who did you go to a concert and say, "Yeah, that's me. That's what I want to be. That's the guy."
Yeah, I know, right? God, when I was 13, or was I 14? Something like that. I lied to my parents and I told them I was going to the mountains or something. I was going with my girlfriend to spend the night or something like that. I can't remember what I told them. Me and my girlfriend, we lived in Long Beach, California, and we got on the freeway and we hitchhiked into Ontario Motor Speedway, and it was Cal Jam, the California Jam 2, I think it was. Yeah. Cal Jam 2, where they had Emerson, Lake and Palmer was headlining, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Jim Dandy, Black Oak, Arkansas. They had all these great bands. And so we hitchhiked there, which was probably about a 2-hour drive from where I lived. And when we got there, we couldn't get in. We weren't old enough. We needed adult supervision. So we crawled through a hole in the fence and we got in. And next thing I know, I was right up front next to the stage just going, "Ugh,
oh, wow,
this is amazing." And there were so many people, you couldn't get out to go pee or go to the bathroom or anything. So people were just peeing in beer bottles and wherever. And
the joy of festivals.
And then Richie Blackmore put the head of his Stratocaster right through the camera lens. It's like a historical memory that Blackmore did that. When you look back at these
festivals, yeah. This is Cal Jam 1, by the way. I'm looking at the lineup. So this is Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Black Oak, Arkansas. Who else? The Eagles are on that too. Holy Christ!
Yeah, Rare
Earth, Earth, Wind and Fire, Seals and Croft. That's not a bad first show, I gotta say. Holy mackerel!
It was like 250,000 people or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's what it says. It says the attendance was 250,000 tickets sold. Wow.
That makes the hair on my arm stand up to hear that.
And it says the price of tickets was $10. $10 to see Black Oak, Arkansas, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple. Wow. Those were the days, huh?
Yeah. And Emerson, Lake and Palmer, man. And Keith Emerson, man, he was so badass. They were just amazing. But see, that's what I grew up on. And that's the kind of stuff I grew up on. And then my other real first concert at an arena was Black Sabbath when I was 13. I went and saw Black Sabbath. Ozzy was the lead singer, and it's just really ironic, that later on in my life I become having engaged to Tony Iommi, and then having a top 10 duet, top 10 hit single in America, a duet with Ozzy. So it's just like, wow, very, very cool and meant to be, you know, just boom. Like God said, you will be Lita. Like, yeah, I can do this. I got this.
Let me ask you this just real quick here, because when I was a kid and I watched, you know, Kiss, and I watched this, and I watched Lita Ford on Much Music doing Kiss Me Deadly, and I thought, wow, this is fantastic. And then, you know, now I got to meet you, and I got to speak to you, and I got to interview Kiss, and I got to, and I get a thrill like, oh my God, I came from, you know, being a 12-year-old to here I am talking to these people. When you're sitting there seeing Sabbath, and then you're doing a duet with Ozzy, Close My Eyes Forever, and it's not just a duet, it is one of the best rock duets ever. And I don't care if it's male-female vocalist or female-female or male, just duet. It's one of the greatest duets ever. You hear, look, you can't see me, but I'm actually getting goosebumps on my arms as I talk about it, because that song is just so impactful. Look at that. It's crazy. I got these giant goosebumps on my arm. You know, I know the thrill for me. When I talking to you now is a thrill, because I remember sitting in my living room watching Kiss Me Deadly, going, and I bought the album right away. Ran out to the A&A or the Discus or whatever it was. Bought the CD right away. What was that like, walking into that room and going, I am fucking laying down a vocal with Ozzy fucking Osbourne? Like, do you get chills?
No, not really. I mean, you know, I just never really thought about it. And I never really, like, I'm not one of these people like, oh, can I have your autograph? I mean, if I would have had autographs of everybody that I've met in my life, I could probably have my own library. But I was just never really one of those. I just felt like I was always just meant to be there at that time.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, a lot of us love Ozzy, and but I mean, it was a different situation, and back then with him and I were filming and recording that, and we did sing it face to face. Producer Mike Chapman put a plexiglass sheet of plexiglass in between us, so we could see each other while we were singing it, but he was still able to isolate the vocal tracks. So it was pretty cool. I mean, it was just, I don't know. And he was the #1 male rock vocalist in the United States at the time, or even in the rock world. I don't even know about the United States.
Yep.
And I was #1 female rock vocalist. So Sharon Osbourne just was like, well, let's put you together.
Hey, listen, it's a great decision, because that song... Listen, when you look back at the catalog of songs, you must have these great ones, and I don't know which ones affect you the way they affect me, but you think Kiss Me Deadly, you think Close My Eyes Forever, and I could list a bunch of other, and you just go, man, that's top shelf there. That is some of the greatest rock music ever created. So, you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let me just here before we wrap up here, because we're just doing this. Let me remind the folks that it is July 26th at the Cleveland, or at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. You will be there with Patrick Kennison to perform and have the BC what do you call it? The Morice, the BC Rich work there on display. And it says here, fans who are in Cleveland are invited to come down to the Rock Hall for the presentation ceremony. The Rock Hall opens at 10 a.m. and admission is $28. And that is going to be $28 well spent to see Lita perform.
God, it was cheaper to go to Cal Jam.
I know, it was $10. And you got to see David Coverdale with Glenn Hughes performing for Deep Purple. I mean...
Oh yeah, man.
What a concert.
Yeah, I know it, right?
You got Coverdale, Ozzy, Blackmore, and the Eagles for $10.
Yeah.
And you didn't even pay. You crawled under the fence.
Yeah, I know it. I know, right? Isn't that cool? I was such a devious little girl.
Yeah, well, hey.
I still am a devious little girl.
Yeah, hey, why not? It's the way to do it.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Yes. Come down to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and see us. And just, you know, just be a part of it. It's going to be a cool event, and just come down and just be a part of it.
Yeah, be a part of it, and
beautiful display. And hopefully one day they will induct me. I hope and pray.
Yeah, I hope so too, and I hope and pray that the border opens so I can actually come down and see some of this stuff. But
I know it.
who knows? Anyway, folks, LitaFordOnline.com is where you get all the information about Lita. Beautiful site, and of course, I always ramble on about how great the merch store there is. But head over and check that out too. And Lita, as we say in Montreal, toujours un plaisir, always a pleasure. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you so much.